So who are currently the best and worst tanks in Marvel's Rivals closed beta? So we've had access to this beta for about 3 days now, going on 4, and yeah, I've had quite some time to fill out the strengths and weaknesses of some of these characters. And we're gonna be rating the tanks for this video, from strongest to weakest, and we're gonna put them on the tier list. Before we get started with it, I just want to let you guys know, if you lot are looking forward to this game and you want to see more content on it, make sure you guys like the video and also subscribe to the channel, because I will be bringing much more content of Marvel's Rivals in the future, especially once the game actually releases. But yeah, appreciate you lot supporting the channel. Let's get onto the video, man. Oh, okay, so starting off with Hulk here, you pretty much start off as Bruce Banner at the start, and you have to pretty much ult into the Hulk. Now, once you actually become the Hulk is when the true character really starts. Now, I want to mention his range is pretty bad in terms of his regular attacks. Gotta be up close, which is fine. It's not bad, right? Decent damage as a tank, right? Now, here's where it gets interesting. His leap, right? He has like an extended jump with one of his abilities. This is very good for his mobility. Very, very good. What makes it good is the fact that you can hold this down. See it charging up, you can hold this down while you're attacking, so you don't necessarily need to stop anything you're doing, and then once you're ready you simply just do it. So being able to hold this down while you're already like in battle is very, very good. It really helps his mobility. And I also want to mention, this doesn't really have a cooldown. Like, you can just keep doing this as long as you get the charge, right? So being able to constantly do that can shift the momentum of the game. You can really mess up the opposing team's formations. So that's that. He's got other abilities as well, which is he's got this right here. What's this called? This is called his yeah, radioactive lockdown. So it pretty much stuns the enemy in place, and of course you can. He's got the Hulk clap as well. So his Hulk clap's got a pretty good range as well. This would be like his ranged attack that he uses. But outside of that, he doesn't really have much he can do at longer ranges or even mid-range. Outside of this and this whole clap, which doesn't do the greatest amount of damage in general. So he does have 800 health, you know, as a tank. He's got a good amount of health. However, he's not, I wouldn't say he's crazy underwhelming, but he's also not super overwhelming or have anything that is completely broken. I think the main thing that makes Hulk is his mobility. Being able to move in and out of situations or target specific heroes makes him good in that aspect. Then he also has his ult once he's in Hulk form, which this enhances pretty much all of his abilities. His attacks knock back now. You know, his Hulk clap goes further, does more damage, more AoE as well. And this is also just an enhanced version, still stuns the enemies. I also forgot to mention he has this too, which shields himself and also his allies, and the damage inflicted on his allies pretty much goes towards his ult, which is pretty decent. It just doesn't last very long. Alright, the final thing for Hulk, when he goes into his ult, if you press your ult again, he has this attack here. And during this attack, he's pretty much invulnerable. You can't really kill him while he's doing this. But the thing is, this only targets one enemy, so it's not really the greatest. It's okay if you're focusing on a specific enemy, but it does good damage, I guess. However, I think there's a lot better out there when it comes to tanks and dealing damage in general. So with that being said, I'm going to put Hulk at a B. He's going to be a B. Pretty average tank, in my opinion. Pretty average tank. Alright, so next on the list we got Venom. Now, this character is absolutely insane. I'm sure some of you have already seen a bunch of people running around with this character. Now, first, I want to say just look at the range on his actual regular attack. Right? Like, this is extreme range. Like, I'm standing. Look at where I am. You see the camera angle? Look at where I am. That's how far these tentacles actually go. I can stand even further back. Like, look at how far I am. This has way too much range. And the damage is good too. Look at this. Okay. This is about where it starts. Look at how far away I am. So it's got great range. Hits multiple times as well. And spammable since it has no cooldown. This is its regular attack. This is extremely good. You can hit opponents up high, no matter where they go. So that's one. Very, very good basic attack. Two, he has this ability right here, which pretty much strings the enemy with his tentacles. And it's just another way to lock your enemies down. You can pretty much just lock people down with this. Make sure they have nowhere to go. Works on multiple enemies at once. If he was a little bit closer. But you can get multiple enemies at once with this too. So that's a very good ability to lock people down. He then has this. Now, in my opinion, this is what makes Venom too good at the moment. Too good. The issue with this is, let me actually show you guys the description on this. His symbiotic resilience. So he basically generates bonus health against damage. The lower Venom's health, the greater the bonus health generated. So what people are doing now is they're pretty much waiting until Venom gets to about 1 pixel health, or like close to a pixel health, and they're using this ability, and he's basically regaining like almost all his health, about half and a little bit more than half his health. And that's because the lower his health is, the more shield he gets back. So that's why they just wait until they get to like really low health before they do it. If I don't wait that long, it only gives me 100 more health. So now I had 800, I had 900. So yeah, this ability is insane if you pair it up with everything else we're about to talk about. So the next thing he has is his web swing. Now just imagine, this is what's been everyone's having to deal with at the moment. You have a Venom that lands in, he's hard to take out, does a lot of damage, right? At long ranges, close range, everything, right? Locks you in, does all of this, right? You get him to really low health, you're about to kill him. He uses his armor to gain damn near all his health back. So now you have to kill him all over again while you got healers around him trying to heal him, right? And then once say you're able to get him to low health again, to like a pixel health again, the second time before his cooldown, because this cooldown is 15 seconds, right? He then has a web swing to simply escape again. To escape back to his team. So taking down Venom right now it's especially if you're running games with randoms and you're not a coordinated team, it's hard because there might not be no comms and Venom just gets away. He either gets away or simply has more health, so kills you first. This character just has everything. Not to mention he's got a wall crawl. He can crawl and he can run up walls as well. So mobility, extremely good. Escape, extremely good. Tanking, extremely good. DPS, extremely good. There's nothing this character can't really do right now. It's pretty insane. And we haven't even gotten to his ult yet. His ult is pretty much just brain dead, goes underneath. And at this point, enemy team will just be dead. So yeah, this character right now, a lot of people have been saying he's the best in the game. I do agree he's the best in the game right now. Definitely always feel safe every time I have a Venom on my team. So yeah, this character is insane right now. And for that reason, he's 100% going in S tier for the tanks. He's taking the S tier spot 100%. Okay, so the next tank is Magneto. Now, Magneto, in terms of his regular attacks here, pretty slow fire rate. That's one thing I've realized. However, much better range than the likes of Hulk, for example, right? Pretty slow fire rate. The damage is decent on these. Not bad damage. Decent. Actually pretty good.
That's 3.
Magneto is pretty much focused on his rings. Now, if you see those 3 arrows in the middle of the screen, they pretty much charge up every time Magneto pretty much deals damage or other effects take place. Now he can release these by using his ability, and this does the more rings you have, meaning the more arrows are filled up, the more damage this will do. So if I fill up to 3, and I'll show you the damage on this, this does a lot more damage than if it was simply just 1 like this. Right, this didn't do nearly as much damage. So he's pretty much based around playing around this. Next ability is he's got this shield right here. He can put a shield on himself or one of his allies, and damage inflicted on that shield pretty much just buffs his rings. So like I said again, everything is based around those rings. He also has this force field here, which is a shield, acts as a shield. However, it doesn't last very long, which is a drawback. If you actually look at the cooldown, you can see on the side there, I'm gonna hold it for as long as possible, and it actually doesn't last very long on its own. So that's unfortunate. Can still be useful though in the right situations. Yep, and then you've got this ability here. You give one of your allies a shield, and if your ally gets hit, they get damage taken from the shield. Again, it just restores your rings. So yeah, another thing that just buffs his rings. That's pretty much his entire game plan. And he also has this. He can levitate in the air. A lot of characters seem to have this. He's one of those. He can fall slowly, which is pretty good for gaining high ground and just being in certain advantageous spots. Like this, for example. Pretty decent, decent tank overall. Let's move over to his ult. Got a basic AoE ult. You can release this whenever you want, pretty much, as long as you're positioned correctly. And it's a pretty good ult in general, especially if a lot of people are bunched up, which tends to happen a lot in this game. But in terms of an overall tank, I don't think he's the best at protecting his team, simply because this shield doesn't last long, and these other shields do things to actually buff him and not so much to really protect a lot of his enemies. So in terms of being an actual great tank, I don't think he's the best. I think he's all right though. I'd give him a solid, maybe I'd give Magneto about a B as well. I'd give him a B. I quickly want to mention, this video is not mentioning team up abilities or any of that. These are the characters on their own. All right, let's move on to Groot. Now, this character is interesting. First of all, he's got his basic attack, which have pretty good range. Pretty decent range, if you ask me. This is similar to Venom's range. Not as much damage as Venom, but similar in terms of range. And also, it's just one hit, not multiple hits. Pretty good damage with his basic attacks. He then has the walls, which he can put up. Now, these are very interesting. He's got one wall here, which simply, if you hit an opponent near the wall awakens like this. And essentially what this does, if you read this here, the awakened wall, the damage dealt by Groot, it basically grants allies bonus health. So doing this around your team is very good because they're simply going to get healed. Now, Groot is not even a healer. He's obviously a tank. So having this as just an extra buff is very good. Not to mention that this wall simply just helps the team because they have to get behind it. You can use this in multiple ways. Let me set up an example here. Let's just say we had somebody running there, for example. Say somebody was running and trying to get away from Groot. He could simply place a wall right here, give them nowhere to go, and simply thirst to kill. So you can use this offensively as much as you can use this defensively. You can just block people's pathways. Very, very good as Groot. I like that a lot. He has a second wall right here, and this one acts a little bit different. When you hit enemies, it turns alive, and the branches actually hit the actual enemies. The only downside to this is that, as you can see, it's hitting this one, but it's not hitting the one on the left because it's simply not close enough. So you have to be kind of precise with where you actually place this for it to work. But the upside of this is the fact that this has like 2 uses on the cooldown, so you can actually put 2 of them, which is pretty good. Now, I do want to mention one downside to Groot. Groot does not have much mobility, so if he's caught by himself, a lot of the time he can actually just lose certain 1v1s. However, the walls definitely do help, so it's good to play around certain buildings or certain parts of the map where you know you can get away by setting up some walls for yourself or your teammates. But yeah, mobility is not really much of his thing. He's more so about how you use your skills to stay alive. he's based all around his walls. You gotta use them well, otherwise, yeah, no ability can be a bit rough. He then also has this AoE sort of bomb that he throws, which then detonates into more bombs. Again, pretty basic, but it's a pretty good tool to have. Just extra damage, something extra you can throw out there. You know, decent AoE, it's alright. Nothing too crazy though, it's okay. Then we move on to his ult. Now, there we go. Does AoE damage over time and pulls enemies in. So this is pretty good for when enemies are somewhat close to each other, but not super far apart. Brings them in and you can pretty much get a full team wipe or however many heroes you manage to get in. But yeah, just pretty good for bunching enemies together and taking them all down. In general though, I think Groot does a lot for a team. Simply by having these walls, these can do a lot for a team in general and can use defensively, offensively. He doesn't actually need to have the greatest movement, you know. I don't like when characters just have everything. So the fact that he hasn't got great movement but has other ways to maneuver the map is definitely very good. Being able to heal his allies, being able to deal extra damage with walls, I think this is just really good in general. His basic attacks again being pretty strong, having pretty good range is good, as long as you hit your shots. Yeah, I think this tank is actually pretty good. Pretty good tank here. His ult is decent too. So with that being said, I'm going to put Groot at A. I think he's actually better than Hulk and Magneto. Alright, so now we have Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange regular attacks are pretty good. I mean, they're alright. They have good range though, unlike the other characters. This pretty much has almost unlimited range. It's pretty good touch. However, he reaches a state of anti-heal once he gets his power up from this. If you can see this actually in the middle, there's that meter that's rising there. He reaches a state of anti-heal where you can't really be healed. However, you have to pretty much press to use this ability here. It uses all of that dark magic. However, this is up close. But in terms of long range, he's alright. Up close, he's only okay if you actually have that ability available. Other than that, he doesn't have much for actually close range combat. Damn, this melee actually looks really cool. It's a shame it's not crazy great. Melee looks cool. What makes Doctor Strange shine for me is this right here. So he has this shield ability, which I'm just holding this, right? And there's no cooldown to this. Like, I can simply just hold this. It has 800 health, as you can see. So if I actually set this. Can I set this? There we go. If I actually set the bots to shoot, look at this.
Our enemies are near.
I can hold this for quite a while. Now, obviously, in game against actual players, they're going to be doing a lot more damage over time than this. However, you can hold this for quite a while. It does not have a cooldown. Now, once you actually stop using this, like you can see it's on 100 and something, I let go of it. It's already almost at 300. Do you see how quickly the shields regenerate? Look at this, it's at 500 already. So these regenerate so quickly for like how hard it is to actually break it in the first place. Look, now it's at 4 again. With no cooldown is insane. So this alone is just very good for the team. This helps the team. Playing behind this, where you have your whole team behind you, yeah, it's insane. I would say, since while he's doing, he can still jump while doing this. However, he's definitely a little bit slower. He can't move as fast as he usually does. Characters that have like great mobility can actually go behind him and take him out. Like, if you come across a Spider-Man, Venom, who else? Just characters, Black Panther, characters that have like really quick mobility that can go up behind you. It can be tough when you're playing as Doctor Strange because of those characters. So you gotta be mindful of how you use them and in what situation you want to be using this. He also has a levitation, which is always good to have some high ground, you know. Nothing wrong with this. Nothing too crazy about it either. You can shield your way down as you're doing that too, which is a good touch. You can use your abilities in there. Now he also has his portal, which is really good because this can really change the tide of an entire match if used correctly and successfully.
Our
So
enemies are
puts down a
near.
pool. I'm sure everyone's seen this. You can put this anywhere you want. I know a lot of people tend to like putting it across the map. Place it here, trick the enemy into pretty much going through, and they all die. Right?
I have
A lot of people have been doing that.
business here.
But in general, simply placing this portal in a good spot behind the enemy team can be a good thing to do if you're all in coordination and you actually know what's going on. This is usually better when you have comms on and you're actually talking with your team so that they actually know what the plan is. Right? You don't just do this unannounced. But again, it's a good way to turn the tide, find a different angle. Sometimes you're completely locked down without anywhere to go, and using this portal can be a good way to turn the tide. As you can see, the cooldown is very, very long, so you're only really gonna get this maybe once or twice throughout that game. He then has his ult,
By the eye of Agamotto.
pretty much freezes the enemies in place. They can't move for a set period of time and can just get pretty much attacked on for free.
Double kill.
Overall, Doctor Strange has a pretty good toolkit. His durability doesn't really come from his health. It just comes from the fact that he can hold his shield for so long. The fact that he can hold his shield for so long means that him having 650 health in comparison to some other tanks that have like 800 health, it actually doesn't matter as much. The shield does so much for him. So I'm going to put Doctor Strange at A, and I'm actually going to put him in front of Groot. I'm going to order these, so I'm going to put him
Our
just in
enemies are
front.
near.
Okay, moving on to Penny Parker. Now, I actually believe this tank to be maybe the most underwhelming tank in the game currently. She just doesn't have too much that's too scary. Her regular fire is, I wouldn't say crazy underwhelming. It's okay. The damage is alright, very mediocre. I mean, it's got range. You know, it's got range. It doesn't really drop. But again, it's nothing too crazy. She then has this ability here, which detonates
Three.
when the opponents get close to it. It's pretty decent, right? So as you're shooting, you can pretty much use this. The only thing is, you can't actually shoot.
That's amazing.
You can't shoot and also do it at the same time. If you're gonna pretty much launch a trap, you have to stop your fire rate. You can't do both simultaneously. So if I'm shooting like this, for example, but if I want to detonate it, see how I had to stop for a sec? I think this would be a lot stronger if you could shoot and do it at the same time.
They don't look friendly.
So that's that. What else does she have? She's got this spider web, which pretty much traps them in place. She can also use this on objects, and then she can web strand towards it. And this strand stays on her. And anytime you pretty much let go of the direction, she goes back to it, which can be pretty much good use for movement. However, the further away you go, the slower you get since you're pretty much attached to this. And of course, you can just detach it whenever you want. So that's pretty good for movement. You can use the web strand by itself, simply to move around places. Is good mobility. So this guy has got decent mobility, but I would say I'd prefer having something like Hulk's Leap, simply because you're not really attached to anything afterwards. Being attached here and having to manually detach can also be annoying. Then she has this AoE attack here, which you can pretty much place anywhere. And it keeps on spawning these sort of explosive spiders.
Double kill.
Which again, the issue with this character is all of her stuff can be easily avoided with characters that have any form of mobility. Like a Spider-Man would never get caught by this. A Scarlet would simply teleport out. So many characters can get out of spots of all of her abilities. So it's a bit underwhelming what she actually does.
Mine's in place.
She then has her ult.
It's spider time!
And even her ult is okay. She does extra damage. And she can like put out a bunch of mines all over the place. And she's pretty fast as well.
That's three.
But even then,
Wow.
I think her ult is a little bit underwhelming. I don't think it does enough. I don't think it does enough. She can get focused very easily during her ult as well. You know, it's not no extra mobility. Well, you're a bit quicker, but no like crazy mobility, or there's no sense of unfairness with the ult. It doesn't seem ultra powerful. It's just a boost.
Spider for the
Double
win.
kill.
So yeah, I genuinely think Penny Parker right now is just a little bit underwhelming. comparing her to the other tanks in the game. And for that reason, I'm going to put Penny at a C. I'll put her at a C. I don't think there is a D tier right now currently, so I can pretty much get rid of this row. Not for tanks anyways. I'll put Penny at around a C. All right, now our next and final tank is Thor. The new addition to the game just came literally about yesterday, I believe, in time of recording this video. Now, this tank is kind of ridiculous, you lot. This tank is kind of ridiculous. First, we have his normal attacks, which is not that, this right here. Right, you just swing the sword. The range is very similar to about Hulk's range in terms of how close you gotta be. You gotta pretty much be point blank. Now you see the 3 hammer icons in the middle. These pretty much fill up every time you attack your enemy with your regular attacks. And once they do fill up, it pretty much buffs a lot of your other attacks. Now the first one is this one. This ability, he pretty much just throws his hammer.
I am Odinson.
It's very very basic. It's probably his most basic ability, right? I guess he needed something at a long range, right? Next ability is this right here. Now I just used it wrong, so I'm gonna have to wait for the cooldown. But pretty much what this does is it fills up those hammers in the middle. Those hammer icons. What is it actually called? It's called his Awakening Rune. That's what it's called. Now the Awakening Rune by itself is this form here, which changes his regular attacks into these. And it has pretty good range, does way more damage, and he gets like a speed boost, he's levitating, it's insane, right? Now if I actually use this ability here, while I have enemies around me, it fills the hammers back up. But let me waste them. Let me just waste them. Now that it's wasted, do this again. And now I can do this again. It boosts it all the way back up. So this is insane, considering that Thor does so much damage when he's in this form. So you can pretty much be in this form twice, is what I'm trying to say. So you do it once, right? Say I just waste this, whatever. Go around enemies, and I can pretty much do this a second time. Now keep in mind that going into this form actually boosts your health, your armor too. It pretty much boosts your health. So as you can see, I have 600 health, and when I go into this form, I now have 800 health. So that just added 200 health to me as I'm in a more powerful form. This is actually insane for him to have. Not to mention he's got some level of mobility with this special, where he can actually throw his hammer towards people. And look at the cooldown on this, 1 second cooldown. Let me charge it to the max. 1 second cooldown. He can just keep on doing this. Like, this is insane. And I can't actually reach. It actually does deal damage too, by the way. There you go. But the main focus on this is not the damage that it does, it's simply the mobility and being able to attack specific heroes. You can focus people with this. Pretty insane. I do want to mention, when you use this, you can't actually use your other ability straight away. So using this move puts a 2 second cooldown on all of your abilities outside of this one. But yeah, this character is pretty insane right now. Pretty insane. The character's, yeah. I think he's pretty much meta at this point. Now, last thing we can talk about is his ult. Another AoE ult. Pretty good. Enemies are bunched up. There's a lot of ults that are pretty similar to this one. So this is nothing like crazy new, but again, pretty decent ult. Pretty good ult. Yeah, Thor, in my opinion right now, is very, very, very strong. He's still new, so I'm sure people are getting used to the character. However, this character does damage. He's got some mobility. Gets his health back again. Feels a bit Venom-ish in that aspect. And yeah, this character is special right now. And with that being said, this is our final tank. I'm actually going to put Thor at F. I think Thor is currently S tier right now. I still think Venom is better. However, Thor can go in S. Venom will simply be the character that's at the top of the S tier. Let me quickly see if I need to switch Hulk and Magneto. Nah, I'm gonna leave Magneto there, leave Hulk there. I think this list is alright. Hulk at the top, followed by Thor, Doctor Strange, followed by Groot, Hulk, followed by Magneto, and then Penny Parker as the last character. This is currently what my tier list looks for the tanks in the game. I think they did a good job with all the tanks in general. I think not even so much Thor. I think Venom right now needs to be toned down quite a bit. I think that's the main issue. I think even if Thor is the way he is right now, people wouldn't complain as much. But Venom seems to be like a global issue right now. So I think they do need to look at that going forward. But I do think the tanks in this game right now are pretty good, man. Pretty decent, pretty good balance. Penny Parker might need to get touched up a little bit. Seems very mediocre. Doesn't do anything crazy good at the moment. But yeah, apart from that, yeah, I've really been enjoying this game. This is what my tier list looks like for the tanks in this game. I will be doing a DPS tier list and a support tier list soon too, so be on the lookout for that. Again, make sure you guys are following the channel. Make sure you guys subscribe if you don't want to see more Marvel Rivals content in the future. I will be covering this game, making guides, making gameplay videos, a bunch of stuff. So yeah, man, follow the channel if you're not on board with the game. And I'll see you guys in the next one, man. Peace.